Hey, welcome to Half the Battle!
It's been a long time, but today we're going back to the G.I.Joe Special Missions comic book as we take a look at issue 12, Airshow. The cover depicts Firefly and the Vector shooting at an antique plane piloted by, I guess, Maverick, though it could be the guy in the back. This doesn't actually happen in the comic, but the vibes are right for what the issue is about. The opening page shows that Finch's plane being flown by two guys, and we're informed it's a Stearman PT-17 Cadet. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be impressed by that.
I'm not a biplane nerd.
I will say the depiction is pretty damn accurate compared to the real thing. We're also told the plane can be piloted from the front as well as the back seat, but usually from the back. Yeah, that's why the cover confused me as to who was flying.
I read ahead, obviously.
Anyway, they land so they can enjoy a local air show in Orange County.
And here's where things get interesting and kinda weird.
The first performers we see are the Archery Angels, who, as far as my research shows, are not a real-world stunt team.
Okay, so I'm thinking the comic is gonna make up a bunch of stuff, and that's perfectly fine.
But then the next performer is named Kenny Cassens and is home-built Starduster, no relation to the Joe. The thing is, Ken Cassens is a real pilot and mechanic who won an award for his actual home-built Starduster. He doesn't have a Wikipedia entry or anything.
But he does seem to be pretty well known in aviation circles.
And just like that, I'm down a rabbit hole, as next is Charlie Culp, who's also a real person known as the Flying Farmer. And next, the King family. Yes, they're real too. Then there's the Gardner Sky Demons. Okay, I don't know if that name is real, but there is a skydiving company that operates out of Gardner Airport. Next, there's the Slight Brothers Flying Circus. This appears to be a reference to a World War I German flying ace, though not the Red Baron, even though the plane looks like his. Next, Tom Cawley.
Yup, real pilot.
Al Bendelius. Well, there's the Flying Bendelius family that has an Alan Bendelius, so I'm counting that. And finally, there's Don Pfeffy. By the way, if I'm butchering any of these names, sorry. Yeah, I couldn't find anything about him. Kind of an anticlimax, but it would be weird if this last guy was made up. He could just be too obscure for the internet.
By the way, I had to research all this crap myself.
YoJoe.com doesn't mention these are real people, and actually screwed me a little by misspelling Cawley's name as Crawley. The G.I. Joe wiki says damn all about it. Even Google fought me here, because it's crap now, so I had to get a different search engine to get info on the Bendelius guy. Larry Hama, who wrote this issue, must have done tremendous research for this story. Well, that, or he's a stunt pilot nerd and already knew these people.
If any of you meet him at a con or something, ask him about this.
Oh my god, I've been talking for so long and we haven't even gotten to the actual plot of the issue yet. I've pulled a reverse H-bomber guy by putting the extraordinary part of the video at the beginning.
Okay, huge tangent over. Let's get to the story.
The main event of the air show are the G.I. Joes, Ace, Slipstream and Maverick in their respective aircraft.
And goddammit, I have to go on another tangent.
When did the G.I. Joe team go from being a top-secret covert military unit to giving air shows? Like everybody now just knows about them? I don't think this was actually addressed in the comics.
But feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
I guess the turning point could have been right after the creation of and battle for Cobra Island. With Cobra having their own country, they were out in the open, and they wouldn't keep G.I. Joe a secret, I guess.
I swear, we're gonna get to the plot now.
So, the Joes do a very impressive air show with lots of maneuvers, and end with them skywriting G.I. Joe over the airfield. After landing, we find out Maverick is also a biplane nerd, as he goes to talk with Bert Priem, or however you're supposed to pronounce that.
I wonder if he's a real guy too.
Okay, so according to my research, no he isn't, but I did find an interesting comment on a page that had scans of this issue. Now, Herb Trimp was the artist on this particular comic, and apparently he loves biplanes, so they think he was involved in the writing. Also, Bert Priem is an anagram of Herb Trimp.
Whoa, mind blown!
Full credit goes to the commenter here. Once again, somebody ask Hama about this.
I swear this issue has a plot.
They bond over their love of biplanes and Bert offers to take him up, an offer Maverick gladly accepts. By this point we're halfway through the comic when at last, plot starts to happen.
See, I told you we'd get there.
A burger van crashes through the fence and we see it's driven by Firefly and he has two Cobras with him. They use knockout gas and take the Sky Striker and Conquest's electronics while stealing the Vector. Maverick and his new buddy are having fun in the sky until he notices his plane is missing. He's informed of what happened and told to go back up to see if they can keep an eye on the Vector. Maverick thinks that there is a chance since the Vector will be flying low and slow to avoid detection. And sure enough, they spot the jet, but Firefly spots them too.
And because we haven't had enough of these, hey, quick aside.
Since when does comic Firefly know how to fly a plane, let alone a brand new experimental jet? Instead of trying to shoot down the biplane like we see on the cover, Firefly tries to get away from it. Our heroes start to run out of fuel, but the Accord Speedway is right under them, so they land in the middle of a race to refuel. And the announcer just goes, "I know that plane, it's Bert."
Oh, that Bert. Always trying to cause a massive car crash with his plane. What a card.
Okay, to be fair, the racing guy knows he wouldn't pull this crap if it wasn't an emergency, and it sure is. There's a caption here thanking the Accord Speedway, now closed, and its owner, Smitty Smithers. And here I'm confused as we go on yet another tangent.
I'm never finishing this plot synopsis, am I?
Yes, the Accord Speedway is real, but according to Wikipedia, it never closed, and I could find no information on a person called Smitty Smithers even owning it. Though the internet wasn't very accommodating, as it kept trying to show me the Simpsons guy. Let's just get back to the plot. So they take off again, but can't spot the Vector anywhere, and since the Air Force has arrived, they give up and head back to the airfield. They then figure out that the Vector, which can land vertically, must have landed on a barge in the Hudson River. They go up again and spot the barge with the tail fins of the Vector sticking out. You know, landing on the Hudson isn't that impressive. I know of at least one guy that's done it before. They land on the USS Intrepid, the aircraft carrier turned museum in New York, that would a few years later host the Yokozuna Body Slam Challenge and steal a boat. This gets the cops, the FBI, and the Harbor Patrol called on them. Now, they could wait for the authorities, but Maverick wants his plane back and doesn't want it getting into international waters. So the unarmed civilian tags along and almost instantly regrets it. He does take out one of the Cobras, but Firefly and the other one think they can still win, until they realize the authorities have indeed shown up en masse.
So what was the point again of boarding the barge if law enforcement was like 5 minutes away anyway?
Thanks to the Pentagon, everything is cleared up, so Maverick and Bert are told they're free to go by Captain Nelson of the NYPD.
And I refuse to look up if that's a real person or not. Okay, yes, I did. What's one more derailment at this point?
Yes, there was a Captain or Chief Nelson in the NYPD at the time, but he was a black guy while this one looks like Commissioner Gordon. So I'm willing to chalk this one up to coincidence.
But right now, I'm not even completely sure if the G.I.Joe team is fictional or not.
He also tells Bert his spyplane is being ferried back at federal expense. This does leave him stranded, and there are regulations about offering civilians a ride on a classified high-tech jet. But in a "there's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball" moment, Maverick says it's totally fine if Bert flies it himself. And so the comic ends with Bert yelling "Yahoo!" as he flies the Vector.
Take rest 6 seconds later.
No, really, that's what would happen. You know that age-old question of what if pilots are incapacitated? Could a civilian land an airliner? Well, they tried that in flight simulators with veteran Cessna pilots attempting it, and they all kept crashing because it's so different. And that was Airshow. If you look at just the story itself, it's a fine tale and an excellent spotlight for Maverick, of who we learn a great deal. I don't really have anything bad to say about it.
Of course, the real meat and potatoes was the insane deep dive I accidentally found myself in.
With all the real people and real locations thrown in one after another, while at the same time the regular comic is having fun in Sierra Gordo and other made-up-stands.
Do you want to know why it even occurred to me to start looking up these names?
It's because of that Accord Speedway caption indicating it was a real place and person. It made me want to find out what else was real. No joke, now I actually know how H-Bomber Guy must have felt making the Roblox/Tommy Tallarico video. This was supposed to be a short, easy little episode to write and put together, and instead I spent more time on it than I would have on a college dissertation.
I need a drink. I sure hope you all appreciate this insanity. Well, I'll see you next time, everybody, and hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing. Just two last minute things. This is obviously the Dutch version of the comic that I show you. And just to be sure, I checked. This is basically a prop I picked up right before starting the film. And they don't change any of the real names. They don't localize them or anything. They're all in there. Kenny Gassens, Charlie Culp, etc. And an extra bit number 2. Yeah, remember that raceway? I actually contacted them to see if that was a real person or not and if they shut down in the 80s. But I didn't hear back from them, which is a bit of a shame.